Hey folks, get ready to supercharge your direct mail game. In today's video, we're diving into the world of QR codes for your mail pieces. These little codes can work wonders for your marketing efforts. I'm going to show you the endless possibilities of QR codes and how you can leverage them to boost the response rates and the efficiency of your campaigns. Let's roll. Hey there, Seth here from REtipster, and I want to show you some new developments in my direct mail templates that involve QR codes. So I've used both postcards and letters for years in my direct mail campaigns, but something I never used to do for the longest time was putting QR codes anywhere on these mail pieces because for the most part, people just didn't know what to do with them. This was a big problem with QR codes for a long time, but luckily times have changed and people have evolved, and QR codes are a much more common thing we all see in our day-to-day lives now. You might see them on menus or business cards or billboards or even TV commercials or even on direct mail. And chances are, when you see one of these things, you probably know what to do with it now, right? So now that we have this resource and most people intuitively know what to do with it, we might as well start using it. So there are a lot of cool ways to use QR codes, ways that you might not have even realized. The first and most obvious thing you can do with a QR code is have it send someone to your website when they scan it. And this is actually a huge deal when you think about it, a lot bigger than you might realize. So when you think about the ability to send somebody to any website URL anywhere on the internet, that opens up a whole lot of possibilities. And something I used to do way back when I started doing this is it would just send people to the homepage of my website. And I'm not going to say this was a mistake, but it was a huge missed opportunity because when you think about the journey a person goes through when they receive your piece of mail, they're told to scan a QR code, and what do they see next? Well, most people when they scan these things, they want to know one of two, if not both things. They want to know who are you, and if you've already explained the whole story on the postcard or letter template, they want to know, what do I do next? Or how do I do this? How do I actually work with you? So with those two things in mind, you got to think, okay, what can I do on the next thing they see after they scan this QR code to explain those things and answer those questions? So for example, you could record a short video of yourself, introducing yourself, showing them your face, letting them hear your voice. This doesn't have to be any longer than 20 or 30 seconds, just so they can see that you're a real person and you're not just this faceless corporation. You could upload that video to YouTube or Vimeo if you have an account there and just let them get to know you that way. For example, I might say, hey, this is Seth. I've been a land investor for 10 years. I've gotten over 100 acquisitions under my belt, and I can make this process really easy for you. Something like that, just to kind of understand I'm a real guy and I know what I'm doing. That's all you gotta do. Another thing you could do is set up some kind of form for them to fill out. Not a ton of information, but just something to gather the information that you need from them in order to go to the next step. And this form could even be accompanied by a video above it if you want. You could do this with a form on your website if you have a plugin like Gravity Forms or Ninja Forms, or Typeform is the one that I like to use, or you could even use Google Forms, which is totally free, and have this QR code send them there. And if you do send them there, just try to explain what's going on before they get there so they don't scan the thing and when they land on the destination they have no idea what's going on or what they're supposed to do or why they're there. So you just always have to remember that user journey and what they're seeing and perceiving as they receive your mail, scan the code, and then what happens next. You don't want it to feel confusing or convoluted or anything like that. You want it to feel seamless, and it should make sense when they go to that next step. You could also send people to any social media profile if you're trying to get followers or build a community or something like that. Or if you do have a page set up on your website that's designed specifically to explain what the next steps are and how the process works, you could have the QR code send them there too. Just keep in mind what they want to know is, who are you and how do I do this? So if you can answer one or both of those questions with this QR code, it's a great opportunity to do that. Now, another thing you can do with QR codes that you might not have realized is you can use them to generate a pre-written text and send that text to a specific phone number. And this is actually something that Rocket Print and Mail can do with your direct mail campaigns. They can help you create the QR code, create that pre-written message. And the cool thing about this is that when somebody sends you a text out of the blue like this, even though it's not out of the blue because they just scanned your QR code, but when somebody sends you a text like this, what they're effectively doing is they're opting in. And once they've opted in, that means you can reply to them and say whatever you want, using whatever words you want. And you don't have to adhere to the normal rules when you send a cold cold text to somebody where you can't say certain words and you have to include an opt-out message and all this stuff, all those rules are off the table because they sent the message to you first. So this is actually really powerful, and it gives those people another way to get a hold of you, especially if they're the type who would rather text than talk on the phone or interact with you in any other way, like on your website. And RocketPrint normally charges a one-time setup fee if you want to do this QR code thing to have somebody send you a text, but word on the street is if you tell them that you came from REtipster, they'll do this for you for free. At least that's what they told me. So give it a shot. Maybe you'll get lucky. So QR codes can be used to send somebody to any website in the world. They can also be used to generate and send a pre-made text that you write and they send to whatever number you want them to send it to. Those are two huge and amazing use case scenarios. But what else can you do with QR codes? Well, you can also use them to have the person make a call. And the call can go wherever you want it to go, but similar to the other options, make sure you kind of prepare them so they understand who they're calling and what they're going to hear on the other side. You could have it go to your live phone that's on you right now, or you could have it go to like a pre-recorded voicemail greeting. And one other cool thing, if you do use RocketPrint for this, they have optional call tracking you can use as well for a small additional fee, but it's not that expensive for what it is. Now, similar to the texting idea, QR codes can also be used to generate a pre-written email and send it to a specific email address if you want to go that route too, which is pretty awesome. You can also use it to open up WhatsApp and communicate that way. And this can be particularly useful if you know you're trying to communicate with people who are outside the US, because a lot of times that's just the standard way that they communicate and it's free. If for some reason you knew you were contacting people that weren't in the US, you could consider that as an option too. You can avoid the need for a phone call altogether as long as they have Wi-Fi access. It's free. Now, depending on the purpose of your direct mail campaign, you could also use this to add people to an email list of some kind. I actually do this all the time on REtipster, where I have people text the word free, F-R-E-E, to the number 33777, and it integrates with a service called Textiful that then responds to them and gets their email address so they can join our email list. It works great. People do this all the time. I set this up specifically so I could call this out at the end of a lot of our podcast episodes, because a lot of times people are listening to the episode on their phone, so it's really easy to just take that same phone and text that message, and it works out well. But again, you could do the same thing through a QR code by having it generate that text through the QR code. Or even like send them to an email sign-up form if you want. Whatever you think is easier and will get the best conversion rate. So that's another option to consider. Say if you were trying to build a list of cash buyers and you wanted to add them to your buyers list, you could send them this kind of direct mail and use the QR code to have them join your list that way. QR codes can also be used to add contact information to a person's phone. Say if you wanted to put this on your business card or something like that. And some other fancier ideas I've heard is, you could put a QR code on your actual purchase agreement so that if somebody doesn't like the offer that you sent them, they can scan that thing and submit a counter offer to you through your website based on that QR code. So that might be one cool way to use it. Or you could also, if you want to get really fancy, hook up your QR code to DocuSign so that the person can open up a purchase agreement through that QR code and sign it right then and there on their phone. So in a lot of ways, you're really just limited by your own imagination. And those are just a few of the ideas I've heard around the industry and that I've thought of myself, but I'm sure there's a ton of other ideas that I just haven't heard of yet. So be creative with it. So you might be wondering, how do I set up this QR code and where am I supposed to put it on my mail piece so it'll actually get the most engagement? People will actually see it and know what to do with it and scan it and do what I tell them to do. Well, if you work with RocketPrint, they can set up new templates for you for, I think it's $199 per template, but I actually already spent that money and I created 3 templates of my own that I want to give to you for free. And the cool thing about working with the RocketPrint is that they send out millions and millions and millions of these mail pieces every single day. They have professional designers that know what to say, they know what works, and they can put these things together for you. And once you have these templates, you can have RocketPrint tweak them up a little bit. It'll cost a lot less to tweak something that already exists. And this is something where, it's been optimized to put the QR code in the right place and to say the right thing. And I did it from my standpoint as a land investor, so that's how the copy is set up. But you can obviously have them change whatever you want if you want them to do that. When you download my package of postcard templates and you open it up, you'll see that I threw all 3 of these in there for free. So have fun with them. And all I ask is that if you decide to use these things, be sure to click through the REtipster affiliate link for RocketPrint. And if you do that, you'll also get a nice discount on all the direct mail you order through that link too. So I'm honestly not sure why you wouldn't go through our affiliate link. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. So just to reiterate, you'll save money on any products you buy through RocketPrint. RocketPrint will waive any QR code setup fee if you decide to use that feature. And if you decide to use these templates I put together for you, you'll save a lot of money getting those things redesigned too. So I just wanted to make sure I explained all the ways I could think of for you to use QR codes, and also some really helpful resources to get you started on the right foot. So thanks for watching, and I wish you all the best on your next direct mail campaign.